Parker Schnabel just pulled over 100 pieces of gold from a single pan in ground he wasn't even planning to mine. That discovery alone would make serious headlines in the Klondike, but here's why it shocked everyone. Parker has already spent $4.5 million before season 16 even hit full stride, the season starting to wind down to a close. It's been difficult. We're well behind this season right now. It's a struggle. It's only going to get worse. New excavators, oversized buckets, for wash plants running simultaneously for the first time in his entire career, all to chase gold on a creek most Klondike miners flat out refuse to touch. That's not a strategy. That's a gamble, and for most of this season, it looked like the whole thing was about to collapse. Man, I didn't think it would be this much work keeping 3 wash plants going. Yeah, Taylor's been a busy man this week. Yeah. We're putting a lot of miles on the trucks this year. Even my truck, with these 3 plants, is self-sped out. His shaker deck flatlined without warning. A wash plant had to be completely rebuilt from scrap in under a week. He was so strapped for cash he was personally chasing $130,000 in unpaid invoices while running the biggest operation of his life. So how did 100 pieces of gold end up in that pan? Here's exactly how it happened. The $4.5 million bet 3 weeks into season 16, Parker has already pulled over $2 million in gold from Dominion Creek. Instead of playing it safe, he's blown through $4.5 million on new equipment and the infrastructure to run 4 wash plants at the same time. The target is 10,000 ounces. How's it going? Welcome, Matt. Yeah, thank you. It's good having you back. And there's a lot to do this year, so we need all the help we can get. Definitely. This is the year, huh? Yeah. We need to just shove dirt down those wash plants' throats, huh? It's a long road to 10,000. The centerpiece of the whole plan, Sulphur Creek. Here's the deal. Sulphur Creek has been mined since 1898 and has produced an estimated $1.2 billion in gold over the past century. But the pay layers are wildly inconsistent, and Parker's water license at Sulphur is about to expire. If he doesn't get the gold out fast, he loses his window completely. And every dollar he's sunk into the creek goes with it, and that's the question eating him alive. He said it himself, are we doing all of this on Sulphur at the cost of getting Dominion done? Because here's the catch. If Sulphur doesn't deliver, Parker doesn't just lose the gamble. He loses ground on Dominion too. You can't run a skeleton crew on proven claims while dumping everything into an unproven one and expect both to perform. No backup plan. No safety net. Just $4.5 million already in the dirt, a water license counting down, and the belief that Sulphur Creek still has enough gold to justify the biggest financial risk of his life. At 29 years old, Parker is betting everything on ground that most experienced miners actively avoid. It's been an outrageously expensive spring, but it's an understatement. We've already spent more this year than we've ever spent in a season. We haven't even started. If you want to see whether Sulphur Creek actually delivers on its legendary reputation, or if it swallows Parker's $4.5 million whole, make sure you're subscribed, because what happens next changed everything. Oversized and undermanned to beat the water license deadline at Sulphur, Parker needs to move dirt way faster than his equipment was built to handle. So he orders oversized buckets, 6 3/4 yards, almost comically large for the excavators they're going on. When the first one arrived, his operators couldn't believe the size of it. That's insane, one of his crew members said. Look at how wide it is compared to the 480. The bigger the bucket, the faster the dirt moves, and Parker needs every advantage he can get. He's also leaning hard on Tyson, one of his key operators, giving him significantly more responsibility this season. Tyson has taken it seriously, almost personally, which is exactly what Parker needs right now. In a season this tight, Parker wants as few people doing as much work as possible. Parker gave his crew 1 week to get sulfur sluicing. Not 2 weeks. Not soon. 1 week. He's throwing brand new equipment at the problem, hoping that shiny new machinery can outrun the calendar, but new equipment in the Klondike doesn't mean smooth sailing. It means new problems nobody has encountered before, and with 3 or 4 days needed just to get a wash plant operational at sulfur, Parker's margin for error is basically non-existent. 1 mechanical hiccup, 1 parts delay, 1 bad day of weather, and the whole sulfur timeline collapses, with a $4.5 million hole in just the first few weeks of spring. Parker Schnabel has burned through $4.5 million. Equipment purchases, crew wages, fuel, maintenance, lease payments. The expenses are relentless, and they don't care whether the gold is flowing or not. It's been an outrageously expensive spring, but it's an understatement. We've already spent more this year than we've ever spent in a season. We haven't even started. The money goes out every single day regardless. So when Parker drove over to collect $130,000 for a rock truck, a bucket, and a ripper he sold to another operation the previous season, he expected a check. The deal was straightforward: end of season, you pay, except it's now been 6 months and Parker still hasn't seen a dime. He finally sent an invoice a month ago. Still nothing. When Parker confronted Kevin about the overdue payment, the exchange was tense and uncomfortable, the kind of conversation where both people know exactly where it's headed, but neither wants to get there first. Like, what was the plan in January if I sent you an invoice? Parker asked, his jaw tight. To pay it then, Kevin replied. So how come you didn't pay it last month when I sent it? Because I figured you made us wait so long. You probably weren't hurting for the money. Parker paused. Let that answer hang in the air for a second. Took a breath. I made you wait so long. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Perfect. But it wasn't perfect. Not even close. Parker pushed for a Thursday payment. Kevin said he'd need to check with Faith, so they went to find her. She wasn't in the office. She wasn't in the kitchen. Kevin thought she might be in the trailer. She was, and she wasn't doing well. When Kevin pulled her aside and explained the situation, laying out that Parker was there for the truck, the bucket, and the ripper, the truth came out fast and ugly. The money that I've put aside for him, we've already spent it, Faith admitted. Hopefully this week we can sluice enough that we can pay him back. I don't really give a. I just want to get paid so I can pay our bills because I have managed to spend like $4.5 million so far in this spring and now I'm tracking down 130 grand. It's like the equivalent of looking through the seat cushions. Parker isn't chasing this $130,000 because he's greedy. He's chasing it because he's hemorrhaging cash and the bills don't stop. I don't really care about the excuses, Parker said after leaving. I just want to get paid so I can pay our bills because I have managed to spend like $4.5 million so far this spring and now I'm tracking down 130 grand. It's like the equivalent of looking through the seat cushions. $130,000, and in Parker's current financial position, it feels like couch change. That tells you everything about how deep the hole really is. Gold in the mud and a critical decision. But amid all the financial chaos, there are moments that remind Parker exactly why he does this. While inspecting one of his Dominion Creek cuts, Parker decided to pan some dirt from an upper section nobody had tested yet. His crew had been hauling material out of the pit as fast as possible, trying to get it to the wash plant without stopping to check what they were sitting on. Nobody had panned the upper section. Parker grabbed a pan just out of curiosity. What he pulled out of that dirt stopped him cold. Holy smokes, Parker whispered, staring into the pan. That's a hell of a pan. Must be 100 pieces of gold in there. 100 pieces? From a section they almost walked right past without a second thought, the gold was right there in the mud, scattered through the dirt like someone had planted it, and now Parker faced another impossible decision. His crew had a mountain of ground to process at other sites. They already had a massive sluicing schedule locked in for the season, but walking away from visible gold goes against everything in a miner's DNA. There's gold there, and that's what we're here for, Parker said, making the call. They'd stay longer and get that last bit of pay, but that meant pulling crew from another site to make it work, which meant weakening his operation somewhere else to strengthen this one. Parker knew the truth before anyone said it out loud. There's a lot of sluicing to do this season, and somehow it always turns into a bigger project than anyone expected. It always turns into a lot bigger project than we think, doesn't it? One of the guys said. Nobody disagreed, chasing $130,000. And here's the thing, while Parker is managing 4 wash plants and watching Sulphur Creek finally show its hand, he's also dealing with something way more frustrating. He's owed money. Parker sold a rock truck, a bucket, and a ripper to a guy named Kevin at the end of last season. End of season payment was the deal. That was 6 months ago. Parker sent an invoice a month back. Still nothing. When he finally confronts Kevin about it, the excuse is unbelievable. Kevin basically tells Parker he figured since the invoice was late, Parker probably didn't need the money that badly because I figured you made us wait so long, you probably weren't hurting for the money, is what Kevin actually says. Like, what was the plan in January if I sent you an invoice? Oh, to pay it then. So how come you didn't pay it last month when I sent it? Because I figured you made us wait so long. You probably weren't hurting for the money. I made you wait so long. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Perfect. All right, Thursday. Double check with Faith. But yeah, I need to double check with Faith, and you can see Parker processing that in real time. The flash of anger. The discipline to keep it professional. The cold pivot to business. Parker keeps his composure, barely, and locks in a Thursday payment. But here's what makes this hit different. Parker has spent $4.5 million this spring. He's running the most expensive, most complex operation of his career. And he's personally driving around, stopping by offices, chasing down $130,000 in overdue payments because someone else decided he probably wasn't hurting. As Parker puts it, I've managed to spend $4.5 million so far this spring, and now I'm tracking down $130,000. It's like the equivalent of looking through the seat cushions. That one line tells you everything about the financial pressure this season. Every dollar matters when you're this deep into a gamble this big. The weekly weigh-in before they get to the gold. There's a moment that perfectly captures what running 4 plants with a stretched crew actually looks like day to day. Parker's talking with the team about the week's chaos. And someone brings up what happened with India, one of the crew members. She messages Brennan and all the text says is, "Help," with an exclamation mark. No context. Nothing else. Brennan races over expecting a disaster and finds her up on the plant shoveling. You can't do that, he tells her, still catching his breath. That is not cool. You have to say the wash plant's down or a loader's got a flat tire or there's a bear in the cut, because I could not get there fast enough. Her response, "What did you want me to do?" "I was shoveling." Brennan's advice for next time, text like 3 more words, "Help. I'm shoveling." That's the reality of running 4 wash plants with this crew: communication breakdowns, people stretched thin, and everyone operating at maximum capacity with minimum support. Now, the moment of truth. The weekly gold weigh, where every decision, every breakdown, every gamble gets reduced to a number on a scale. No excuses. No context. Just wait. The crew gathers around the table. Nobody's talking, Roxanne pulling gold from Ken Stewart's claim, the one averaging 130 ounces a week. Gold hits the scale. 30. 60. 90. 130, keeps climbing. 150.44 ounces. An improvement. The Indian River is producing, next up, Slucifer and Big Red on Dominion. The plants that survived the Shaker nightmare and the destroyed bearing last week pulled 232 ounces. After everything that went wrong, nobody's expecting much. 20. 40. 100. 200. 230. 251.55, up from 232 after all that chaos. Deadly, Mitch says, and you can hear the relief in his voice. Then the bridge cut wash plant Bob, the pit where they stripped 40 feet of overburden, averaging 170 ounces a week. 10. 20. 30. 60. 80.7. The room goes quiet. It's been a bit depressing to be honest. Someone says. Parker's face doesn't change. 40 feet of dirt stripped off the top of that pit and the gold just isn't showing up the way it should. There's a lot of low-grade pay in there and nobody's sure if they've even reached the good stuff yet. I don't know if you're really getting into that good pay yet or not, he admits. That's a rare moment of uncertainty from a guy who normally doesn't show it. Hopefully it comes back up. But right now, Bob is dragging the numbers down, but here's the number that actually matters. The total. Last week, 428.7 ounces. This week, 505.44 ounces. Season total, 5,855.9 ounces. They're moving forward. Not nearly as fast as the $4.5 million demands, but forward. The more gold that comes out of there, the more I'm like, oh, like this is the ground. And not just we happen to start in a really good spot, right? It's so nice. Like at first it was just relief, but now I'm like actually spring. You get excited. Be nice if we went forward a little faster, Parker says. But we're getting there. We just have to keep plugging at her. Where things stand, so here's where Parker Schnabel sits right now. He's got 5,855.9 ounces banked. He needs 10,000 to make the season work. That's over 4,100 ounces still to go, with a $4.5 million bill hanging over everything he does. 4 wash plants running across multiple claims. A crew stretched to the absolute limit and being asked to do more every single week. The bridge cut underperforming in ways nobody predicted. Slucifer barely surviving a catastrophic bearing failure that should have killed the plant. Unpaid debts eating into margins that were already razor thin. And the water license at Sulphur Creek running out faster than anyone wants to think about. But then there's that pan. 100 pieces of gold from ground nobody was even targeting, ground they were treating as waste. Sulphur Creek hasn't shown its full hand yet. And what it's already revealed has Parker staying longer, digging deeper, and pushing his crew even harder than before, with 5,855.9 ounces in and 10,000 on the line. Parker is still over 4,100 ounces away from proving the $4.5 million gamble was worth it. Half a season left and more than half the gold still to find. The crazy part is that Sulphur Creek is just getting started. Do you think Parker can actually hit 10,000 ounces this season, or is the Klondike about to fight back? Drop your answer in the comments. Hit that like button if you're hooked and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what happens next, because this season is far from over.